Welcome back to K-pop and juice, your favorite corner where the tea is always steaming, the gist is always spicy, and nothing is filtered. If you're here, you already know we don't just report. We unpack, we decode, and we connect the dots others are too scared to touch. And today? Today's story is dripping with chemistry, whispers from behind the scenes, and a revelation that has fans looking at their screens a little differently. Because when Jang Ki Yong finally opened up about what really fueled his electric on-screen connection with Ahn Eun Jin, let's just say it wasn't just good acting. Now pause. You know that feeling when you're watching a drama and something just feels too real? Like the glances linger a bit longer than scripted, the tension feels less like fiction and more like something brewing under the surface? That's exactly what fans have been saying about these two. From the very first episode, viewers weren't just watching a storyline unfold, they were witnessing something that felt alive, unpredictable, and dangerously convincing. And for a long time, people chalked it up to they're just great actors, which, to be fair, they are. But now, with Jang Ki Yong's recent revelation, it's clear there was a deeper layer behind that perfect chemistry everyone couldn't stop talking about. According to him, it wasn't something that just magically happened. It wasn't even something fully planned. It was something that developed slowly and organically in a way that even surprised him. He described their first meeting as unexpectedly comfortable, not dramatic, not intense, just easy. And sometimes that's exactly where the most powerful connections begin. He mentioned how, from the very start, conversations with Ahn Eun Jin didn't feel forced or rehearsed. They flowed. They had this natural rhythm that carried over into their scenes. And if you've ever watched actors are built to build believable chemistry, you'll understand just how rare that is. But here's where it gets interesting. Jang Ki Yong admitted that a huge part of their chemistry came from trust, real, off-camera trust. Not the kind you fake for interviews, but the kind that builds when two people genuinely respect each other's craft and presence. He revealed that they spent time discussing their characters deeply, not just memorizing lines, but understanding motivations, emotions, and even the unspoken tensions between their roles. That meant when the cameras started rolling, they weren't just reciting dialogue, they were reacting to each other in real time. And that's why those scenes felt so alive. But wait, because it goes deeper. He also shared that Ahn Eun Jin had a way of surprising him during filming. She wouldn't always stick strictly to the expected delivery. Sometimes she'd shift her tone slightly, change the pacing, or add a subtle emotional twist. And instead of throwing him off, it pulled him in. It forced him to stay present. It forced him to feel rather than perform. And according to him, that unpredictability created a spark that couldn't be manufactured. Now let's be real for a second. This is the kind of detail fans live for, because it blurs the line between acting and reality. When an actor admits that their co-star's presence genuinely affects their performance, you start to wonder, how much of what we're seeing is scripted and how much is something else? Of course, Jang Ki Yong was careful not to cross into speculation territory. He didn't claim anything romantic was happening off-screen, but he didn't dismiss the emotional connection either. In fact, he emphasized that their bond was rooted in mutual understanding and emotional openness. They both approached their roles with vulnerability, and that vulnerability created a shared space where their performances could thrive. And if you think about it, that kind of connection doesn't just happen overnight. It builds in quiet moments between takes, in conversations no one else hears, in shared laughter when the cameras stop rolling, in those small, seemingly insignificant interactions that slowly create something bigger. Fans, of course, have been dissecting every interview, every behind-the-scenes clip, every glance, trying to piece together the full picture. And honestly, this revelation has only added fuel to the fire. Because now, when you go back and watch their scenes, everything hits differently. That intense eye contact, it's not just acting, it's awareness. That subtle hesitation before a line, it's not just timing, it's emotion. That chemistry everyone couldn't explain, it suddenly makes sense. And let's talk about Ahn Eun Jin for a moment, because her role in this dynamic is just as important. Jang Ki Yong didn't just praise her talent, he highlighted her presence. He described her as someone who brings authenticity into every scene. someone who doesn't rely on over-the-top expressions, but instead uses subtlety to convey deep emotion. And that kind of acting, it demands an equally responsive partner, which is exactly what he became. He admitted that working with her pushed him to elevate his own performance. Not in a competitive way, but in a collaborative one. It became less about individual acting and more about creating something together. And honestly, that's the secret behind some of the most iconic on-screen pairings. It's not about two great actors standing side by side. It's about two people who listen to each other, who adapt, who respond, who build something that feels bigger than either of them alone. Now here's where things get even more layered. Jang Ki Yong also touched on the emotional toll of maintaining that level of connection throughout filming. He admitted that staying in that emotional space wasn't always easy. When you're constantly tapping into deep feelings, drawing from real emotions, it can start to blur the boundaries between character and self. And that's something fans don't always consider. We see the final product, the polished scenes, the perfect moments, but we don't see the emotional investment it takes to get there. According to him, there were moments where he had to consciously step back and remind himself where the character ended and he began. And that's a level of honesty that you don't hear often, because it reveals just how immersive the experience was. And maybe, just maybe, that's why their chemistry felt so undeniable. It wasn't just technical skill, it was emotional risk. It was two actors willing to step into uncomfortable territory, to be vulnerable, to trust each other enough to let those emotions show. And when you combine all of that, you get something that audiences can't look away from. Of course, the internet has been doing what it does best, speculating, analyzing, creating theories about what this all really means. Are they just incredible co-stars? Is there a deeper connection? Was this a once-in-a-lifetime pairing that can't be replicated? Everyone has an opinion, and honestly, that's part of the fun. But what Jang Ki Yong's revelation really does is shift the conversation. It reminds us that chemistry isn't always about romance. Sometimes it's about alignment, about timing, about two people meeting at the right moment, in the right project, with the right mindset, and creating something that resonates far beyond the screen. And in an industry where so much is controlled, scripted, and carefully managed, that kind of organic connection feels rare. It feels real. And that's exactly why fans can't get enough. So the next time you find yourself rewatching their scenes, pay attention to the details, the pauses, the expressions, the way they react to each other, even when they're not speaking. Because now you know there's a story behind that chemistry. A story built on trust, spontaneity, emotional depth, and a connection that went beyond the script. And whether or not we ever get the full picture, one thing is clear. What they created together wasn't just good acting. It was something that lingered, something that made people feel. And in the world of K-drama, that's the kind of magic that turns a good show into something unforgettable. Now tell me, after hearing all this, do you still think it was just acting? Or are you starting to see what everyone's been talking about? Because over here at K-pop&juice, we're watching closely. And you already know, we're not missing a single drop of this tea.